Hi, I'm Jordan, and I recently got diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis and seronegative rheumatoid arthritis. Probably clicked on this video because I put my apartment is poisoning me, and I do think that, but that's going to be later on in the video. First, I want to talk about the past 8 months of my life, how I got diagnosed, what were my symptoms, how I'm dealing with it. I've gained 20 pounds after losing 85 pounds previously, just everything. I want to have one big long form video because I do post about it on my TikTok and my Instagram, and there are people being like, wait, I'm new here, like what happened? So I thought having one long video would be very, very beneficial. So let's start at the beginning. Starting off with my endometriosis, starting 3 years ago, February 13th, 2023, it was Super Bowl Sunday, the Chiefs won, go Chiefs. I remember feeling very, very full that night, and I was like, I probably just ate too much Super Bowl food. It's fine, I'll go to sleep, wake up the next morning, work out, it'll be fine. I remember waking up the next morning and my stomach, always starting in the lower right stomach, was in so much pain. So I continued to go about my day, and I just remember it was so painful, especially when I was laying down and I'd press on my stomach and it was like sharp shooting pain. So I was like, this is really, really weird. Maybe I'm constipated, maybe it was something I ate. So I move through the GI tract, start at the right, go up, over, and down, and I still do that. But that's what I was just doing over and over because I thought it was just something in my GI tract. Months went by, that was February. April 1st, I went to the gastro doctor. She literally walked in, talked to me for 30 seconds and said, you have IBS, here's some pills. Cool, thank you very much. She didn't want to go any further than that. So I tried taking the pills for like 3 days, nothing worked. I don't want to take medicine. Like, I don't want that stuff in my body. I've never taken birth control. I've never taken anything. So I don't know if it worked. I think I was hesitant, but again, it wasn't IBS, so it probably didn't work anyway. So after that, I never went to any more doctors for my stomach problem. The pain is always there when I press on it, okay? I can go throughout the day and not feel any pain unless I physically press on it. But there would be weeks where really, really good, no pain unless I press on it. And then there's some weeks where I'm literally hunched over in pain, can't get out of bed, heating pad on 24/7. Like, it's bad. It affects like my daily life. I was always bloated all the time. Sometimes I'd go 3 to 4 days without going to the bathroom, if you know what I mean, which that was pretty normal. I usually go 1 to 2 days sometimes without. That's normal. But when I was getting into like the 4 or 5 day range, I was like, okay, this is weird. And I remember it was so weird. I was just really wondering what it could be. I thought it was a food intolerance, so I took out gluten and dairy again. That wasn't really working, so I was just like really confused on what it could be. I did see the word endometriosis pop up somewhere online. I was like, okay, but I don't have painful periods. And endometriosis is kind of known as like the period illness, and my periods, while they are irregular, when I do get them, they're like 3 to 4 days, and besides the first 2 days, it's very, very light. I get cramping maybe the first day, but I'll pop an ibuprofen, and that's literally it. So I was like, it can't be endometriosis because my periods are fine. Endometriosis can show up in different ways. It doesn't have to just be terrible period pain, but a lot of people do figure out they have endo through having really bad periods. So let's fast forward to September of 2025, about 7 months ago now. I got married August 8th, 2025. I moved from Dallas to Austin to live with my husband. He already lived down here in this apartment, and I moved in with him. His lease is up in April 2026. We knew we just had to live from August to April, and then we'd move and find our own place together. Obviously, I visited him in this apartment all the time. I would stay for maybe 2-3 days at a time, so not like long term, but I'd come visit, obviously. But I did get married, and so I was like, this is probably a good time to get a pap smear. Never had one before. I am 24. I was like, let's get one now since I am married. So I found a gyno, and I went to her, got a pap smear, everything came back normal, but I did mention in the appointment that I had very, very bad stomach pain sometimes. It's just always there, and they're very, very nice. So we're like, let's do an ultrasound. I was like, great. About a month later, so we're like late September, I'd say early October, late September, one of those two. I went and got an ultrasound. They did the on the tummy one first, so like the one, like I was pregnant, and I was like, I'm not pregnant, but this is really weird. And she saw a lot of fluid in the right abdomen. And after not really seeing what she was looking for, just a lot of fluid, she was like, do you want to do a vaginal ultrasound? I was like, you know what? Sure. I was like, spread me open, go in. I don't really care. So we did a vaginal ultrasound as well, and again, found a lot of fluid on my right side of my stomach. My left side was looking really good. She said the ovary and the fallopian tube on the left side looked good. I think this was many months ago, and I had the memory of a goldfish, so I do not remember. I just remember she said there's a lot of fluid on the right side. Let's order a CT scan. I was like, okay, let's order a CT scan, might as well. So got a CT scan for my stomach, and I remember it was November 23rd. I got a call at 6:55 p.m. and they close at 7, and they're like, is this Jordan? I was like, yeah. And she was like, you have acute appendicitis, go to the ER now. And in my head, I was like, okay. I was like, I've been dealing with this pain for 3 years, so I know it's not my appendix. At least I was pretty sure. And so I was like, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving. My husband and I had plans. I was like, I really don't want to go to the ER right now. But after talking to my husband, let's just go, like, you never know. And I was like, okay. So I walked into the ER, and I wish you could have seen their faces when they're like, what are you here for? And I was like, acute appendicitis. And I'm just standing up like, hi. They were like, okay, but they have all of my scans. So they did see that it was appendicitis. So I got checked into the ER. They took my blood, put in a IV, everything like that. And they took me up to a room. The hardest thing about this whole thing was I could not eat before surgery. And I was pissed. They were like, the surgery's gonna be at 7 a.m., so it'll only be like 7 hours. Okay, but then they kept pushing it back. It's gonna be 9, it's gonna be 10, it's gonna be 12 p.m. I was like, let me eat. So they finally let me eat soft foods until midnight. So I was eating yogurt, applesauce, orange juice, water, ice cream. Like, I just needed something, because before then, I'd only eaten at lunchtime, which was 2 p.m. So I was not doing well in that sense, because if I don't eat, I get hangry. This is about 2 days before Thanksgiving at this time, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take out your appendix. So I got prepped for surgery, everything. I remember coming out of surgery, and the first thing I remember the nurse saying was, you still have your appendix. And I remember crying, because one, coming off of that drug, the anesthesia, just makes you cry. I don't know why. I was like just crying. I remember I was like, can I have chapstick? I need water. Where's my husband? And I was really hungry. I said, I want food now. She told me I still have my appendix. I was like, what happened? So I found out they opened me up, and all of the organs on my right side of my stomach are glued together with scar tissue and inflammation. I was like, lovely. They couldn't even find my appendix. So the general surgeon had to call my OBGYN, who is in the same building. They're like, can you come to surgery and take a look at this? She came in, and she was like, I'm 99% sure that's endometriosis. So they took a biopsy, and they sent it to pathology. I was like, great. So I have endometriosis now, and they're like, I'm 99% sure. So that was on the 24th, had to stay again to the 25th because my white blood cell was so high, and they just put me on a lot of, what are those things called? I don't know, they put me with a lot of stuff in my arm. I just know that, to like trying to get my white blood cell count down and my inflammation down. That was that. I was like, great, so I didn't get my appendix taken out, and now I have endometriosis. I honestly think it was a blessing in disguise, because now that I follow a lot of endo accounts and I have endo friends, some people can take up to like 8 to 10 years to even get diagnosed, because doctors nowadays don't want to believe that you have endo. They're like, you're too young to have endometriosis. Oh, it's just a painful period. Here's some Tylenol. Take some ibuprofen. Oh, just get on birth control. And I'm very, very lucky that I did not have that at all. Besides that one gastro doctor, anything with an OBGYN has been amazing. Like, they believed my stomach pain, they got me in for all the tests, and I was very, very lucky to get diagnosed the way I did, because first you have to find a gynecologist that will see you and believe your pain and not just try to push birth control on you. After, it's hard to find that. You have to find a gynecologist that will refer you to a surgeon to open you up, because the only way to make sure you have endometriosis and to diagnose you is to do a laparoscopic surgery and open you up and look. That is the only way that I know of right now. There are still studies coming out to find out if you have endometriosis. So I'm very lucky that my appendix surgery was also my endometriosis discovery surgery. So I didn't have to do 2 of them. I think it was a blessing in disguise in that sense. So I do have an appointment with an endometriosis removal surgeon, doctor dude, in about 2 weeks. So we'll talk about everything, what's been going on, and how he's gonna remove it, because you don't wanna do an ablation. I think that's what it's called. You don't wanna get it burned off, because it will grow back. You wanna get it exited from your body. I cannot think of the word, I'll put it on the screen, but where they actually take the endo out. They don't just burn it off. I have an appointment with him, and then we're gonna have surgery later this year, I think, to take out my endo, put all of my organs back in the right spot, and then take out my appendix as well, because it's a useless organ. It's probably inflamed in there, so might as well just take it out. So that's my endometriosis story. Now let's go to my seronegative rheumatoid arthritis. Still triggered that this has happened, but we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be okay. I'm convincing myself. I'm saying it out loud. I'm manifesting. I'm praying. I'm doing everything. I moved into my husband's apartment around August 15th, like after our honeymoon. Drove down, moved in. everything was dandy. It took about 3 weeks to find a job, and I found a job as a tumbling coach at a nearby gymnastics cheer gym. I was like, great, I did cheer for 18 years, competitive cheer. I was like, let's coach some kids. Also, I have some friends that work there, so I was like, this is perfect, it's 2 minutes away from my house. I had the job for 2 weeks before I had to leave because I got injured. I remember it was my second week working there, and it was a Wednesday. That morning, I walked on the treadmill for an hour like I normally do. And I got out of my car and I was like, my right knee feels stiff. Interesting. I was like, maybe I sat on it wrong on the couch at home. Maybe I was walking on it weird on the treadmill because I wasn't wearing the best shoes. I was wearing like pretty flat shoes. Maybe that was it. I went through my shift at work pretty fine. I was like, my knee was getting stiffer by the hour, especially because I was always on my knees spotting children. So then I thought maybe just like I've never been on my knees this much before, like flipping kids. Maybe it doesn't feel well, maybe I need to change something. That was a Wednesday. I woke up the next day, and I remember my husband was out of town on a work trip. Thursday I woke up, it's huge. It is a grapefruit, and it's filled with fluid, and my ankle hurts as well. My right ankle, my right knee. I was like, what is going on? I must have done something. I must have walked weird. That's what was going through my head first. So I went to the store, got a knee brace and an ankle brace, texted my boss. I was like, this is what's going on. I'm still gonna come do my job. And I just did everything on my left knee, but it was getting worse. It was getting so worse. And I remember that night, the last hour, I didn't have any kids in my class. I sat next to a space heater because I was shivering. I was so cold. It was 80 degrees outside. And my entire drive home, I had the heat turned on to 90. Shivering, the 40-minute drive home because it was a different location. I was so cold. I was like, what is happening? I remember I came upstairs immediately, got the hair dryer, unplugged it, brought it with me to bed, and was just in bed with the hair dryer going down my body with blankets because I was so cold. My husband's still out of town. Next day I was feeling a bit better, like not having the chills, but my knee was still huge. I was still limping because it was so much pain walking. I still had my braces on, but I had to go pick up my husband at the airport. The second I picked him up, I immediately got the chill sensation back, and he drove. Remember, we got food at Chick-fil-A, got home, and I just like felt like I needed to like get thousands of blankets on me. I was freezing, I was shivering. I was like, I can tell when I have a fever because the inside of your mouth, like under your bottom teeth, if you put your tongue there, if it's burning hot, that's how I tell I have a fever. I took my temperature 102.8 or 102.9. I was like, got it. Went to the urgent care where my husband went to the store and got me electrolytes and soup and everything like that. I remember crying in there because I was just aching, and when I'm achy and I have a fever, I move a lot because I just cannot sit still. I was moving and I was crying because they took an x-ray of my knee and I couldn't stand up straight. They were like, straighten your knee, and I was like, I can't. It was just not a fun time at all, and I still didn't know what was going on. I just remember the doctor was really rude. He's like, why are you crying? Do you need to call your mommy? Yeah, I had a male doctor say that to me. Thank you very much. And he asked if I was over 18, even though I have my wedding ring on. He was like, you look like you're under 18. We need a parent to be here. I said, I'm 24. But he said there was nothing wrong with my knee and to get crutches. But the crutches there were $120. I said, no, thank you. So I hobbled back to my car. Saturday went by. I'm just elevating my knee and icing it. That's all I can do at this point. Elevate and ice. Take ibuprofen. Sunday, I was like, let's go to an orthopedic because I need a doctor's note and I'm supposed to work on Monday. This orthopedic will forever go down as the worst orthopedic care I've ever been to. They were terrible. Walked in, they're like, yeah, you need to get an MRI. This knee does not look good. I was like, got it. A week went by, got my MRI. They brought me in, they're like, you sprained your PCL. Like, that's what's wrong. I was like, okay, great, like, we can fix that. 30-second conversation costed me $200. Got it. Got a note from my boss though, which was good. And I told him, I was like, I can't do it on my knees, I can't bend my knee, I can't straighten my knee. Hopefully this will clear up pretty soon. That week, it then goes from my right knee to my left knee. So now it's both knees filled with grapefruit balls of fluid. They're huge. I am walking on my tiptoes, holding onto the wall, saying, please God, don't let me fall because I feel like I'm about to collapse any second. I'm wheeling around the apartment, our carpeted apartment, on my wheelie chair, barely being able to push, having to pull with my arms. Like, that was probably the worst, 2 months that I've had in a very, very long time, probably ever. Just because I was so depressed, I'm gonna say it. I was depressed. Going from working out every single day, getting 10,000 steps, going out in the sun, just moving to a new Austin, like it's fitness here. Like I wanted to go and do things. Just got married, a newlywed, just got a new job, and I'm stuck on the couch because I can't even walk from my couch to my bathroom without a chair or a crutch or holding onto the walls. Do you know how depressing that is? My husband would come home from work and I was deprived of human contact. I would just start bawling. And he was like, let's get you outside into the sun. So he'd help me down the stairs. I'd go sit out in the sun for 30 minutes because I just needed vitamin D. I needed something. I needed to talk to people. My husband, that's all I had. I don't have any friends here. So that was the first 2 months, and then it went to my right elbow. I could not straighten it more than this. Could not put any pressure on it. I already can't extend it all the way from cheer. I hyperextended it doing a double back handspring, but that happened as well. So I was like, both my knees and my right elbow are filled with fluid and I can't straighten them or bend them. The only thing that has been good this entire time was my left elbow. This is my baby. If it ever goes south, I'm gonna be very sad because this has been my pride and cheer the whole time. Then I tried to find a primary care doctor so they could refer me to rheumatology or to a different orthopedic. Then it went down around the time that I was getting surgery for my stomach. So this was happening in September while I was trying to figure out my stomach issues. That appointment I was talking about when I got my, whatever it's called, ultrasound, I had 2 knee braces on and crutches because I couldn't walk. And she was like, hope you can do this. And I was like, it'll be fine. It wasn't painful, but I did it because you had to like have your knees bent. So that was going on while I was trying to figure out my stomach issues. Then it finally went down. My knees have not been back to normal since it first happened, but the swelling went down enough where I could walk normally again. I didn't have to wear my braces. I could straighten them. I still can't bend them. I can't like go down on all 4. I can't do a squat. I can't bend them in that sense, but I can like, you know, like slightly like butt kick a little bit. But I can't like fully, you know what I mean? I can slightly bend them, but I can't like fully like bend them. It went down, I was like, great, like it went away. Maybe it was just, one of the other things I thought happened was I got an infection from the cheer gym or I got an infection from somewhere, and that can cause like autoimmune flare-ups, like an infection flare-up type of thing. Like, so I thought that was it. I was like, it went down, we're all good. I'm gonna start strengthening my knees again because I haven't hit leg days in 2 days. I haven't been able to walk. I was hitting maybe 300 steps a day during like the thick of it. I was like, this is great. It came back with a vengeance, don't worry. I remember I found the primary care doctor. I went to the primary care doctor, and when I went to her, it was the worst it has been because it was both my knees and my elbow. And she took tons of blood. I've taken blood so many times at this point, it's kind of insane, but every single time my white blood cell count is slightly elevated. I have a lot of inflammation in my body. My CRP that time was 140, which normal is like 0 to 10, somewhere there. So it was very, very high, which basically means your body is fighting off something. Your body is so inflamed. That's essentially what every single doctor has told me when I take blood. So she got a referral in for me for orthopedics. She was like, your knees look fine, but let's try orthopedics first. And then of course, this is America, so you get an appointment 2 months out because they never have appointments. By the time the 2 months came, my knees were feeling better. I call it like a wave. This is really, really bad flare-ups where I can't walk, they're swollen, can't bend them, can't straighten them. When I go down, they're not swollen. I can straighten them, slightly bend them. It's not much pain, but they're still swollen, they're still fluid. It's never back to normal. Orthopedic took x-rays. This was like my 5th, 6th x-ray now, and I was like, there's nothing in there. You can maybe tell there's some swelling, inflammation, but my knees are structurally fine. He told me that. He felt my knees. He's like, your knees are structurally perfect. It's not me, it's gonna be rheumatology. And I was like, I knew that. I found an appointment for rheumatology a month out. I walk in for rheumatology, tell her all of my symptoms, what has been going on, and she's like, okay, let's take blood. $1,000 worth of blood. Got blood, and she was like, okay, well, you're very, very inflamed. I was like, tell me something I don't know. Asked if it was lupus, because I do have rosacea. I was like, no, it's rosacea. I do have dry scalp, but I've had dry scalp forever. It was just, she was trying to like rule out things, which I understand. She's like, okay, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, or then she mentioned another one, like I got a virus from something, a virus, arthritis, I don't really know what it's called. But she was like, I think it's one of those, but I'm gonna have another appointment in a month with you. So that didn't really do much for me, but I had the orthopedic and the rheumatology the first time, and that's how it kind of ended there. So then it was December, my knees were feeling better, and I was out of a job for the past 2 months, so I had to dip into my savings one time for my car payment, but I was running out of money. I was like, I need a new job. So I found a job as a hand model. Yeah, so you know those like things online where you're looking for a recipe and you see the video of them like pouring, cracking? I was that, But with that job, you also had to prep all the ingredients. We're doing 4 recipes a day, and it was 2 days of 10-hour days, and you got maybe a 5-minute lunch if you were lucky, no breaks, you always had to stand. So I would take 2 braces and 2 ice packs and wrap my knees, and luckily, because it was a food kitchen, I had freezers, I'd wrap my knees with ice packs, then when they'd get warm, I'd switch the ice packs. I would do that my entire 10-hour day, or else I would not be able to stand. I went from not walking to then standing for 10 hours straight. Probably not the best idea, but I needed a job. And so I worked there for about a month and a half, and then my right knee started feeling tight again. I remember I was walking into work one day and I did my butt kicks to see if they're tight. I do it every single morning, and my right knee felt tight again. I knew it was coming. I was like, great, this is amazing. Can't wait for this to happen again. That was the Tuesday, and I worked Tuesday, Wednesdays. By Wednesday, I was hobbling along. I made it through that 10-hour day, and then I told my boss that my knee is swelling up again. They knew about my knee issues, obviously, because I wore knee braces and ice packs. But they essentially removed me from the group chat, and they're like, have a nice life. Like, if I couldn't stand, I couldn't even sit down and do dishes. That job went away, so then I was jobless once again. So that's 2 jobs having to leave / got fired from. That was January that I got fired from that job. So then it is mid-January, late January at this time. I got fired from my hand model job, trying to go to the gym whenever I can, but I can only hit upper body. I am able to hit upper body, back, and arms at the gym if I'm feeling up to it. Obviously, if my knees are not doing well and I can't walk, I don't want to show up with crutches, so I don't go to the gym. But if I'm feeling up to it, I'm trying to go to the gym, but I just want to do cardio. I want to walk, I want to do Stairmaster, I just want to do something. You take it for granted. You take your body for granted. I took my body for granted. All the times I'm like, I don't want to do Stairmaster, I'm skipping it today. I would do anything to do Stairmaster right now. I would do anything to go on a 5-mile walk. Like, literally anything. So if you can, and you're just like, I don't want to, do it. Because there's so many people out there that would love to do it and to take your spot. It went down again. And then 2 weeks before I was going to Disney for my brother's 21st, my right knee started filling up with fluid again. So I was like, okay, I can't wait 2 weeks for it to go down. I am elevating it literally all the times that I can, icing it all the time. So I went back to my orthopedic because he was the only doctor that was nice to me, and I got it drained. I got my knee drained because I've seen videos of that helping with inflammation and all the fluid in my knee. So he drained my knee. I got 85 milliliters of fluid, which is crazy. He was like, do you want me to send it in? Like, he's like, I'm 99.9% sure it's not orthopedic, but I was like, might as well. Obviously came back negative for crystals and anything with orthopedics because I didn't injure my knee. I didn't fall on it. He did send it into rheumatology for me, so she was able to see it, which was great. And she was like, yeah, I can just tell that you're inflamed. Thank you, girl. I got it. I got that part. My whole body is inflamed. I'm an inflammation machine. I got it. But after he sent my knee juice fluid to her, I got another appointment with her, and she called me in basically, and she was like, I think it's seronegative rheumatoid arthritis, because we've done the arthritis thing in the blood so many times now, and they all come back negative. Healthcare is so weird. Literally all my arthritis markers come back negative, so like, oh, so you just have seronegative rheumatoid arthritis. Like, make that make sense. I'm sure there's something, but that doesn't make sense to me. Everything's negative, so here's a positive. Whatever, it's like a battery. So my knee was feeling a lot better after I got it drained. I'm going all over the place. So my knee was feeling a lot better after I got it drained. I was able to go to Disney. I wore KT tape on my knees, and I was walking 30,000 steps per day, and my knees were great. Obviously, I couldn't bend them, but you know, I was able to walk 30,000 steps a day, which is just made me so happy because I was so scared I'd have to get a wheelchair from my knees like swelling. But they did so well. I was so happy. I was like, this is it. This is it. It's working. She prescribed me 600 milligrams of ibuprofen, so I was just taking that once a day just to help with inflammation. I was like, we're doing great. We're doing it. Came home from Disney February 28th. I was like, I need to find another job again. I'm running out of money once again. So I remember seeing on Indeed that my old cheer gym that I was helping coach at was hiring for a front desk. I was like, this would be perfect. I'm able to sit down. I know some of the people there. This would be great. So I emailed the HR lady that I was talking to about payment, and she emailed me back 2 minutes later, and she was like, call me. I was like, okay. So I call her, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, do you remember me? I was like, yeah, of course. And she was like, the job application that you saw was for the Austin location, but the one place where I live, the place where I like used to coach, she was like, I literally was about to press like submit on putting a new job application up on Indeed for this location. She was like, but I would love to have you. I'll get rid of like, I won't post it. Like, let's have you. I was like, it was literally like God was looking down and it was like, here you go. And she even told me that too. She was like, she had tons of job applications saying from the Austin location saying like, I'll go up to where I live and they'll drive the 40 minutes because they needed a job. But she was like, she threw all of those away after I emailed her, and she was like, I remember you, you're so nice, so bubbly, and we'd love to have you. So I got a job as a receptionist at the cheer/gymnastics gym where I used to work, and it's 2 minutes away from my house, and it's been amazing so far. I started working there beginning of March, so it's only been around 3 weeks now, but it's been great because I can sit down and it's just a lot better on my knees, not having to stand all the time, which is great. But the date is March 27th, and about 4 days ago now, both my knees filled up with fluid once again. So I think this is the 4th flare-up now that I've had, the really bad ones. It's not as worse. They're filled with fluid, but I can walk, which is weird. It's usually really, really painful where I'm on my toes and I can't like put my heel down because I can't straighten it, but I can still fully straighten my knees. I just can't bend them, but they are filled with fluid. I did go to the orthopedic yesterday because I told them, I said, you're just nice to me, that's why I come to y'all, because rheumatologists can drain knee fluid as well, but the orthopedics are nicer. And so this new doctor lady, she was so nice. She drained my left knee, which was my bad one. So it's a lot smaller. There's still some fluid, but not as bad as it was 2 days ago. You're pretty much all caught up, but let's talk about why I think my apartment is poisoning me. Tell me why. Yes, I had stomach issues already, okay? But tell me why I was perfectly healthy until I moved into this apartment. 3 weeks in, and then I get all of these symptoms. My knees started swelling. My elbows started swelling. I'm getting fevers. I'm getting chills. Just this past month, I've had headaches. I've had 2 more fevers. I've had aches. I've had chills. I'm just like, what is going on? My knees are swelling again. My elbow is swelling again. My hip hurt. I think I just slept around one night, but we'll throw it in the mix as well. I've had to start wearing blue light glasses because my head. So I'm like, oh, it's the computer, but who knows? I think I have black mold in here, or I just think my apartment is poisoning me. But my husband is completely fine, and he's lived here for 3 years. I don't know. My rheumatology has prescribed me medicine. And again, throwing back to, I'm scared to take medicine. I've never been on birth control. I've never taken anything. I don't know. This is a medication that if I happen to get pregnant, it will be okay, because there's some where like you cannot get pregnant whatsoever. This one it is okay, but it can mess up your eyes. So I'm like, lovely, lovely. And I haven't started taking it yet because I'm scared. I'm scared of side effects, but I don't know what to do. I want to wait until we move out of this apartment first to see if it is the apartment, but it might take so long to reverse the effects from this apartment that who knows? I don't know what to do. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is I'm waiting to move out of this apartment because I feel like it's poisoning me. Because what do you mean I moved in and then everything bad started happening to my body and it's shutting down? That's basically what's going on. That has been my life so far. So now I have a chronic illness and an autoimmune disease as a 24-year-old girl. I used to weigh 255 pounds and then decided lose 85 pounds and all your health problems will start. Yeah, I joked about it, I smile about it, but inside I'm crying because I just miss my old body. I have been watching a lot of videos of girls going on their summer cuts, losing weight, going on hikes, going to the beach, being able to sit crisscross applesauce, being able to go on a run, doing box jumps. Like, I miss going to the gym. I miss being able to go on a walk. I miss being able to do anything because I can't really do much besides sit on the couch. I've gained 20 pounds because of it, and it's hard to look in the mirror because I was so proud of where I got my body to. Body down to 170. I was happy with how I looked. August, my wedding, was the best I've ever looked, and now I've gained 20 pounds. Obviously, my husband still loves me. He still thinks I'm beautiful, but obviously we're our worst critics, and I look at myself and I'm like, wow, you really let yourself go. But I'm so sedentary now that obviously it was gonna happen. I try my best to still eat healthy, but it's just hard. But I thought I would just post my whole story here. So if you're going through this, I want you to know you're not alone. And I want to post on YouTube about this as well because I looked it up and I feel like there's no chronic illness, autoimmune YouTube videos or people on YouTube that talk about it besides like short videos. You made it all the way to the end. I love you so much. If you're dealing with endometriosis, if you're dealing with seronegative rheumatoid arthritis, if you're dealing with any chronic illness, if you're just sick, I'm here for you and I love you and we're gonna get through this together. But I'm gonna post more like day in the lives living with a chronic illness. So if you'd like to see any of those videos, please let me know. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't forget anything. But yeah, I will see you in my next one.